I'll never forget sitting across from a client just 3 days after her breakup. She looked quite exhausted, and she told me something again I probably won't forget. She said, I know this relationship was unhealthy. I know he wasn't good for me. So why does it feel like I'm dying? She wasn't asking because she wanted her ex back. She was asking because she genuinely thought something was wrong with her. Here's what I told her. I said, nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is reacting exactly the way it's designed to react after losing someone you became emotionally attached to. Okay, but the problem is, most people accidentally make the healing process much longer because they do the exact opposite than what actually helps. Today, I'm going to show you the 7 things I tell almost every breakup client that I work with. These are practical and they're backed by psychology. And if you start doing them today, you'll give yourself the best chance of healing and not just surviving. If we've never met before, I'm Dr. Tony Martinez. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and over the past 2 decades, I've worked with hundreds of people who are rebuilding their lives after painful breakups. But before we get started, if you're interested in understanding the psychology behind relationships and healing, then consider subscribing. Every week, I break down what I've learned from working with hundreds of clients over the past 20 plus years. Stick around to the end because the 7th step is the one that I see transform people the fastest, and it also is the one that people skip the most. So let's start with the first one. So we need to accept that your brain is going through withdrawal. This is the part almost nobody talks about. When you lose someone emotionally that you are emotionally bonded to, your brain loses one of its biggest sources of dopamine, oxytocin, and emotional predictability. And that's why we keep reaching for our phone. That's why we keep replaying conversations and why everything reminds you of them. You're not crazy. It's your brain is just looking for the relationship the same way it looks for a lost source of comfort, okay? And looking at that concept of withdrawal as compared to any other kind of withdrawal, it helps us understand a little bit better, okay? So understanding removes the shame. All right, the second one, stop checking their social media, okay? Every time you look, you're reopening the wound. People think checking their ex's Instagram gives them closure. It rarely does. It's really doing the opposite, if anything. It's usually giving you new pain. Healing requires fewer reminders, not constant exposure. If recovery is your goal, protect your peace. The third thing, let yourself grieve. So many people think they're supposed to, quote unquote, be strong. No. Being strong means you've allowed yourself to feel sadness without letting it define you. So give yourself permission to cry, to journal, to talk to trusted friends. Healing isn't avoiding pain, healing is moving through it. Can I tell you something I've noticed after working with breakup clients for over 20 years? The people who heal the fastest usually aren't the ones who love the least. They're the ones who stop waiting for healing to happen and start giving their brain what it actually needs. And that's exactly why the next few steps do matter. So the 4th step, build structure into your days. Breakups create empty space. The time you spent texting, the weekends together, the routines, they're suddenly gone and you have these voids. So that empty space becomes dangerous because your mind fills it with memories. So instead, we need to create new routines, be it if you exercise or morning walks, if you would like to read, cook, anything that reminds your brain life is continuing on. Like I always tell my clients, even through grief, at some point we need to find normalcy, okay? Now, the type of grief I'm talking about is if we mortally lose someone, but we have lost the relationship to that person still, even if they're living on, they no longer exist in our life. Next, do not isolate yourself. This is where I see many people unintentionally slow their recovery. They stay home, they stop answering texts, they avoid everyone, but loneliness only feeds heartbreak. Connection heals it. Even if you don't feel like going, go anyways. Next, stop asking why they left. One of the biggest traps is believing that one more answer will finally make everything make sense. Most of the time, it won't. So sometimes closure isn't something your ex gives you. Sometimes it's something that you choose. It's better a lot of times to give yourself that closure if you can't get it from that person. So next, become someone your future self is proud of. This is where real healing begins. Don't make your life about getting your ex back. Make your life about becoming someone you love is waking up as. Okay, so we could learn something new. We could travel. We can improve our health. We can reconnect with old dreams. The breakup becomes the beginning of a better chapter, not the end of your story. So I've watched people walk into my office believing they never feel normal again, but months later, many of them told me something surprising. They weren't grateful the breakup happened, but they were grateful for who they became because of it. So if you're hurting today, remember this. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens one decision at a time, one healthy choice, one day, one step forward. And eventually, you'll wake up and realize the pain that once consumed you no longer controls your life. So if this video has helped you, leave a comment and tell me which of the 7 steps that you would need to work on the most. And if you're trying to understand relationships, attachment, trauma, and emotional healing, then subscribe to the channel. Every week I share practical psychology to help you build healthier relationships, not just with other people, but with yourself. We'll see you in the next video.